Israel is a small country with a relatively diverse topography, consisting of a lengthy coastal plain, highlands in the north and central regions, and the Negev Desert in the south. Running the length of the country from north to south along its eastern border is the northern terminus of the Great Rift Valley. The State of Israel is the only Jewish nation in the modern period, and the region that now falls within its borders has a lengthy and rich history that dates from pre-biblical times. Although the object of dispute during the Crusades, the region, then generally known as Palestine, remained under the sway of successive Islamic dynasties until the collapse of the Ottoman Empire at the end of World War I, when it was placed under British mandate from the League of Nations. Israel fought a series of wars against neighboring Arab states during the next 35 years, which have resulted in ongoing disputes over territory and the status of refugees. Despite continuing tensions, however, Israel concluded peace treaties with several neighboring Arab states during the final quarter of the 20th century. Despite its small size, about 290 miles, 470 kilometers, north to south and 85 miles, 135 kilometers, east to west at its widest point, Israel has four geographic regions: the Mediterranean coastal plain, the hill regions of northern and central Israel, the Great Rift Valley, and the Negev, and a wide range of unique physical features and microclimates. In the north of the country, the mountains of Galilee constitute the highest part of Israel, reaching an elevation of 3,963 feet, 1,208 meters, at Mount Meron, Arabic, Jebel Jarmak. The mountains of Galilee are separated from the hills of the Israeli-occupied West Bank to the south by the fertile plain of Esdraelon, Hebrew, Emek Yisrael, which, running approximately northwest to southeast, connects the coastal plain with the Great Rift Valley. The Mount Carmel Range, which culminates in a peak 1,791 feet, 546 meters, high, forms a spur reaching northwest from the highlands of the West Bank, cutting almost to the coast of Haifa. The Great Rift Valley, a long fissure in Earth's crust, begins beyond the northern frontier of Israel and forms a series of valleys running generally south, the length of the country, to the Gulf of Aqaba. The Jordan River, which marks part of the frontier between Israel and Jordan, flows southward through the rift from Dan on Israel's northern frontier, where it is 500 feet, 152 meters, above sea level, first into the Hula Valley, Hebrew, Emek Hula, then into the freshwater Lake Tiberias, also known as the Sea of Galilee, Hebrew, Yam Kinneret, which lies 686 feet, 209 meters, below sea level. The Jordan continues south along the eastern edge of the West Bank, now through the Jordan Valley, Hebrew, Emek HaYarden, and finally into the highly saline Dead Sea, which, at 1,312 feet, 400 meters, below sea level, is the lowest point of a natural landscape feature on the Earth's surface. South of the Dead Sea, the Jordan continues through the rift, where it now forms the Arava Valley, Hebrew, Savannah, an arid plain that extends to the Red Sea port of Eilat. Arrow-shaped, this flat, sandy desert region narrows toward the south, where it becomes increasingly arid and breaks into sandstone hills cut by wadis, canyons, and cliffs before finally coming to a point where the Arava reaches Eilat. Other rivers in Israel are the Yarden, which empties into the Mediterranean near Tel Aviv, the Qishon, which runs through the western part of the plain of Esdraelon to drain into the Mediterranean at Haifa, and a small section of the Yarmuk, a tributary of the Jordan that flows west along the Syria-Jordan border. The soils of Galilee change from calcareous rock in the coastal plain, to Cenomanian and Turonian limestone, deposited from about 99 to 89 million years ago, in Upper Galilee, and to Eocene formations, those dating from about 55 to 35 million years ago, in the lower part of the region.